welcome to our first Cash Conversations. My name is Tiffany Pollard, and I'm the Risk Service Practice Leader at William Bond Company. At William Bond, we pride ourselves on being a full-service accounting and advisory firm. And as part of our full-service offerings, we're excited to bring to you our WVC Technologies team. WVC Technologies is here to assist your company manage your information technology and cybersecurity needs. William Bond Company has joined forces with Dmc Technology Group, a locally owned and operated technology firm right here in Toledo, Ohio. I'm excited to introduce Greg Gomack, a senior client executive at Dmc Technology Group, to our first Cash Conversation. Greg and I will be discussing phishing and the key indicators you and your employees should be looking for before you click for those free donuts. But before I do, I want to share with you the latest statistic. Phishing has only increased since COVID crisis began. And as of March 11th, 2020, IBM has indicated that more than 6,000% increases have been seen in COVID-themed phishing emails. Many of these emails are being directed at small and medium-sized companies as they await their small business loan needs, only indicating that you can never be too small for a cyber criminal to take advantage of you. At this time, I want to welcome Greg Gomack to our conversation. Hi, Greg, and welcome to the Cash Conversations. Thanks for your time today.
Hi, Tiffany. Glad to be here.
So, as we discussed, we're going to be talking about phishing today. Can you share with us some tips to determine if an email is a phishing attempt?
Sure. There's a couple easy ways to look at an email when you first get it. The first thing you want to do is take a look at where it's coming from. Is it somebody you know? Does the email address look legitimate? A lot of times, the bad guys will try to make something look like PayPal a little different. So instead of it being from paypal.com, it'll be from somewhere like paypalme.com. Those are things that you want to stay away from. Second, usually there's a big call to action or an immediate request that they're looking for inside that phishing email. When you read the email, is it asking you to click on something like this link right away, or we need this money yesterday, it should have been sent by so-and-so? Those are big no-nos usually that you want to take a look at. Third, don't click on the link immediately. You can always hover over the top of something, for example, and see kind of where it's sending you. If you kind of hover over the top of one in your email address right now, for example, it might show you it's sending you to your company website inside your signature. The last thing you always want to look out for is any sort of an attachment. Are you expecting the attachment? Those are things that you can look at right away. Does it enable macros or ask you to enable macros as soon as you open it? A lot of times those are used to kind of put things on in the background that you don't want.
Absolutely, those are really good tips. Greg, what advice can you share to help us mitigate our phishing risk?
Sure, there's a couple of easy guidelines you can follow every time you get an email, for example. First thing you want to do is just slow down. Especially nowadays, we try to answer people as quickly as you can with an email, but if you just take a second, slow down, really read things, you can save yourself a lot of headaches. You always want to be suspicious, especially if you don't know the person it's coming from. If it's a vendor maybe you use, but you don't recognize that person, or it's a customer and it's a new contact, for example, you usually want to just double check everything, slow down, read the email real carefully, and see what it's asking you to do. If it's asking you to go to a link, for example, FedEx says that you have a tracking number that has changed. Click here. Just go to FedEx.com instead through your internet browser, through Chrome or Internet Explorer, and take a look and type it in yourself. Don't just follow the link.
Mm-hmm.
Be skeptical of any download that you get from an email. Usually take a look, make sure you're expecting something. And if you're not, it's easy to pick up the phone and just call somebody. Make sure that they wanted to send you it. Last, if you're not sure, ask your IT team. Whoever takes care of your IT, ask them to take a look at the email first.
I think those are all really good points, especially the fact that many of us rush to respond as wanting to be helpful, but needing to take that time to pause and really question, was this email intended for me? Is it from the right recipient? Absolutely.
Right.
And lastly, can you share a time with us that DMC has helped a client through a phishing attack and what happened?
Sure, we help a lot of our clients with these kinds of attacks that they get. The best way to deal with them is to kind of mitigate your risk. You can provide security awareness training, is what we call it, to all of your employees in your organization. you really are just trying to phish them yourself at the end of the day. You send out fake emails that get them to try to click on a link or get them to try to enter their username and password, for example. The tools that we use then kind of log everything on the back end so that you can look and see how your users are doing. Are they entering their username and passwords on websites, for example? That's a big no-no. So with what we find, we're able to then provide training to those users so that hopefully the next time it comes around, they don't do that. So the training goes on usually for about a year. It's what we usually like to see. And it really does make a big difference. You can see the curves kind of work their way down as the users go through the program. It's come a long way.
That's awesome. And that's great. I mean, the more we all practice, the better we get at recognizing these phishing attempts.
That's right.
So Greg, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate it. Phishing continues to be a big risk for small, medium, and large size companies, and it's so important for us to all recognize this risk. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Greg or myself. Greg, thanks so much.
Thanks.